Hey there, knowledge seekers. It's time to dish out some philosophical truths, hot and steamy, straight from the marketplace of ancient Greece. Today's special? A big, delicious serving of Diogenes of Sinope. Who needs Plato's lofty ideals or Socrates' endless questioning when you've got Diogenes, the guy who showed everyone that the simpler your life, the clearer your mind. And yes, sometimes that clarity involved shouting about prostitutes and carrying a chicken. So who was Diogenes? This dude was the original master of less is more, before it became an Instagram aesthetic. He lived in a large ceramic jar, you know, the kind that should have had olives in it. Diogenes didn't need fancy palaces or columns. His decor was the kind of minimalism that made Marie Kondo look like a maximalist. He kept only what sparked absolute necessity: the sun, his tub, and whatever wits he decided to throw at society on a given day. Legend says he even had a wooden bowl for a while, but when he saw a child drinking water from his hands, Diogenes took one look at that bowl and said, "Forget it, I'm being shown up by a kid." Boom, just like that, one more possession gone. Now let's talk about how this man redefined public philosophy. Today, if you want to make a statement, you tweet your hottest take or dye your hair green. But Diogenes? Nah, he was a classic. He'd stroll through the marketplace in broad daylight, holding a lit lantern. When people asked him what he was doing, he'd say, "I'm looking for an honest man." Spoiler alert, he never found one. But what he did find was a lot of curious Athenians who probably reconsidered their life choices that day. It's like he was saying, hey, maybe stop pretending to be virtuous for 5 minutes and actually try it. And oh, the public displays didn't stop there. You think eating in public is no big deal? Well, back then it was considered a huge taboo. Diogenes thought, hunger's hunger, regardless of where you are, and just plop down in the marketplace to munch on some food. This was his way of calling out the absurdity of social conventions. Honestly, it makes you wonder, are all our rules and formalities just keeping us from being human? Speaking of absurdity, there's one story that involves our old pal Plato. Plato had declared that a human was simply a featherless biped. People thought this was profound until Diogenes showed up at Plato's academy, holding a plucked chicken, and yelled, "Behold, Plato's human." Plato probably groaned and updated his definition after that, adding something like, with broad, flat nails. Diogenes didn't just want to hear talk about philosophy. He wanted it challenged, ridiculed, and pushed to its breaking point. And oh boy, remember the time Alexander the Great himself showed up? Here's the most powerful man on earth standing before Diogenes, who's just lying around in his tub. Alexander, impressed, says, "If I weren't Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." And what does Diogenes say? He barely looks up and replies, "If I weren't Diogenes, I would also wish to be Diogenes." Alexander's army must have had a good laugh. Imagine having that kind of indifference to power. That's not just humor, that's stoic in its purest form. And Diogenes didn't stop making points about desires and indulgence either. Take the time he wandered into a brothel. He sat there yelling, "A beautiful prostitute is like poisoned honey," over and over again. The men around him got so fed up they tossed him some coins to shut him up. And what does he do? He waits until he's got enough, then goes straight into the brothel. Talk about using the tools of indulgence to fund his own message. Maybe it was hypocrisy, or maybe it was the ultimate actions speak louder than words. In the end, what's remarkable isn't just Diogenes' bizarre antics. It's how every outrageous act was backed by a deep belief, a belief that we could be freer if we cut away the nonsense that society ties us up with. Whether he was wandering around with a lantern, plucking chickens, or sunbathing while dismissing the most powerful man on earth, Diogenes showed that wisdom sometimes comes wrapped in the weirdest of packages. It's about stripping life down to what's essential, both physically and mentally. Maybe, just maybe, we could all use a bit more of that honesty, even if it doesn't mean living in a jar. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And if this wasn't quite your vibe, let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see. Whether you're into these or want something different, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.